As Wetleg prophetically said, I am on the chaise long, on the chaise long, on the chaise long, all day long. Hey everybody, it is Catherine. Welcome to the last video we all get to share together on my channel this year, as well as the finale of Vlogmas. I hosted Vlogmas on my Patreon this year. It was a wild success. I only had to combine 2 days, so there are a full 24 videos over there from this month alone, which is more videos than I've uploaded on this channel, I'm pretty sure, all year. So I'm feeling very accomplished and wanted to collect us together for an end of the year soiree. It's a garden party. I've prop styled this table accordingly. So for those of you not spending your December in California, good luck. Good luck, that's all I'll say. Might need a full body parka for the garden party. If you hear chickens, that's because there are chickens. I do feel the need to address something right at the top here. There was an incident on my community tab this week. Actually, in preparation for this video, I incited a jump scare by using a photo of Miss Allison Howell Williams on my post. Some of you mistook that photo as Rose from Get Out, a hallowed villainous character. It was actually Marnie Michaels from Girls, also a hallowed villainous character, but for very, very different reasons. And so in lieu of a text post, I wanted to make an apology right up here. I'm sorry if that brought up some Jordan Peele-esque imagery for you. That was not intended. I'm simply running out of pictures of myself at this point, and thankfully the internet is chock full of screen caps of my girl Allison Williams. I'm doing a Q&A for the last video of the year because I've been yearning for the classics. And to me, the most timeless classic thing you can do on YouTube is a Q&A. Yes, I'm a progressive person. That does not mean that I cannot lust after the good old days. First is thoughts on aging. And this was a very, very compelling question for me. Right now, I'm 26. And I am very much looking forward to every birthday to come, mainly because I've had such a transformation of myself from 22 to 26. And it just makes me so hopeful for how my little inner world will continue to grow as I gain more years on this planet. So internally, like spiritually, I'm ready. I'm ready for aging. However, this is a very multidimensional issue. Gender and ability level really complicate my attitudes towards aging because I'm aware that one form of capital that I have as a woman is my youth, and that will wane as my desirability decrescendos over time. I've been thinking about the politics of desirability a lot lately and how ugly it all is. What we consider desirable today is influenced by just so many toxic things. I'm not sure how my thoughts and feelings about aging will change in the decades to come. I am aware that forming concrete opinions on aging when I'm literally 26 is pretty half-baked. But at the moment, I am interested in aging naturally. I'm still wearing my sunscreen and I'm still wearing my moisturizer and I'm still wearing makeup, but at this moment, I have not made any other interventions in any other cosmetic interventions in aging, because when I think about it and I dive through all the layers of what it means to participate in the anti-aging industry, I just believe so deeply in prefiguration, politically as a theory. I just really think that if we want to live in a different world, let's model that as much as we can now, as much as we can, right? This is something I've really seen with my own body hair. I want to live in a world where anybody can wear their body hair in any state. And in order to do that, we just have to start doing that. There's a few ways around it, but I just feel this is one of the most active things we can do is just okay, wear your body hair the way you want to do it. And it became so much easier for me to grow out my body hair when I just saw friends casually, without explaining it or justifying it, just wearing their body hair however they want. And now that I've seen it online and with friends and loved ones, I'm oh, it's still a little bit uncomfortable because it doesn't feel fully accepted, but the only way to get comfortable is to get comfortable. And so I think of that the same way with aging, where if I'm trying to prefigure a world in which I don't need to erase all my wrinkles, get plastic surgery in order to keep up, then I need to prefigure that and model that, Those are my very limited thoughts on aging physically. And then the third dimension is aging biologically, what's going to go on with my organs, because this is probably the part of aging I'm like most scared about, especially because in the past 3 years, I've gained 3 diagnoses. So I think we're up to like 4 or 5 at this point, and I just can't keep up with that trajectory. You know, like that y equals mx plus b, like that cannot keep going that way. It needs to slow. But I am aware that just like as you age, like your ability level drops, and the only way I've found to kind of like heal my relationship with that is just to develop more intergenerational relationships with people of all ability levels to, again, just like model what that would look like for me so it's not as foreign. And that's been really helpful. Next question. How do you come to terms with not being ambitious and having big goals anymore? And I really wanted to answer this one because a lot of us have communed here because we're trying to step away from hyperproductivity that like I used to peddle. We're trying to step away from achievementism and attaching our worth to how we are as laborers, you know? And in doing that, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary to detach yourself because then you're like, what do I reattach myself to? Now I'm just lost. I'm floating. Like if I'm not climbing a ladder, what's my purpose in this all? And I do not think that ambition in itself is a warped attribute. It's just been warped under colonialism and capitalism. Like being passionate and wanting to pursue something with a whole lot of drive isn't bad at all. Like actually it's a very good thing. That's how some of the most beautiful, wonderful things have come to be. Let yourself have goals and ambitions. Just check in with yourself about why you're seeking those things, who or what may be influencing that motivation, and if you have to be so hard on yourself in order to get there. Did your parents contribute to you forming overachiever habits, or did you develop them solely on your own? This is a nice little companion question, and I dove much deeper into this in my I'm recovering from 20 years as an insecure overachiever video, which some of you may be here from, which, hello. This is also a good moment to check if you're subscribed to me, because it would be great to carry a few of you into 2023. But no, my overachiever habits did not develop in a vacuum. That is clearer than ever being back here in the Bay Area for the holidays, where I was raised, where I was socialized. It's not just me and my family embodying the values of just like mega career excess and high performance in academia. What I think it boils down to is that I had a bud of ambition just intrinsically inside of me. And that got directed towards academia. And then that direction was just confirmed and solidified more and more because of the reward cycle. My ambition towards academia was cemented as like morally good. Like that made me a better person. And only now am I starting to actually like bust up that cement, trying to reconfigure some things. What is something you regret from 2022? I did read a book all about regret this year that really was very informative. And I did injure my foot this year. I got a bunch of stitches in Mexico, and it took quite a few weeks for it to recover. I'm still healing from it. But the eternal optimist in me has reframed it as an event that really doubled down how much the people in my life care about me, because so many people stepped up so compassionately to support me. So you were questioning your sexuality a while ago. How are you feeling about your identity? One of my friends literally said that he does not know anyone that is more confused about their sexuality than I am, which was a deeply humbling moment. Like that actually really clarified some things for me, where I was like, I need to get a grip. I was just like so lost in the spring of this year and last year because the majority of my friends are queer. TikTok was telling me that you're queer. And it was just very clear that online people wanted me to be gay. And I could not tell what was up from what was down. I could not tell if I was free thinking or just adopting everyone else's beliefs. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let's try it. If they think I'm gay, maybe I'm gay. Try dating outside of men for a little bit. And it just felt really forced. And in a Q&A last year, I was talking about relating to asexuality. And now I've picked up a book on it. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like that's fitting. Like, I feel like that's fitting for me, but I feel like a lot of shame around it, because getting back into desirability politics, it's just not, I feel like it makes me less desirable to say that, like, I don't experience sexual attraction. And also just because, like, I didn't even know what asexuality was until I started reading more about it. So I feel like if I say that to people, they're just like not going to understand. Like they're just not going to understand what that means to me or what that means for anybody. And so I'm just like, in that way, I'm just like, the label doesn't feel that helpful to me because I think it's been misconstrued, I'll say. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it actually really hasn't changed. I was like really thrown for a loop, and then now I'm just kind of back to where I originally was. What is something you wish to try or do in 2023? Okay, I do think I want to learn how to DJ next year. I made an hour-long Power Hour set for my friends, and it went over so well that I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to try this more. It's a little fun. Do you consider Seattle your home or merely the city you inhabit? What does home mean to you? Seattle is home. It's always felt like home in a way that like San Francisco and LA never did. Even in my time living there, like Seattle feels like side A of home and the Bay Area feels like side B. So when I was coming here, it's like coming home for the holidays, but it also feels like a trip away from my real home, which I'm really happy about. Like, I feel like that's such a success in my move there, is that I haven't had to manufacture a sense of home. Like, it's just always, even when I was visiting, it's always felt that way to me. And that feels very rare. Have you curated a community in Seattle yet? Okay, yeah. So this is one big focus I have for 2023. I have friends in Seattle, I have a handful of friends, but I can't say I have like a community that I'm embedded into. I would love to find a political home in Seattle, like some sort of in-person political community, as well as a musical community. I would love to find community with musicians again. Are you only going to apply to jobs in Seattle or California/other places too? Just Seattle. I am staying. Travel plans in 2023. So far, Denver and Alaska. Very excited about. I do want to do either a Cleveland and Michigan trip or a Baltimore, New York trip to see friends and family. However, I'm not sure I can fit both of those in with all the things I'm signing up for next year, including a job. So we will see. Do you have any surprising takeaways/learnings from your unemployed era? What kind of full-time job will you be looking for if you are, and why? One surprising takeaway I've had from my time unemployed is that I don't think I can have a healthy social battery while working from home remotely solo, which kind of rocked my world, if I'm being honest with you, because I didn't think I'd ever want to work in person again and be, in the presence of a boss who's surveilling you. And I also just really value the flexibility of remote work, but doing Patreon and YouTube from home solo this past half a year like really crushed me socially. So I think I want to find a job that is probably hybrid, or at least gives me some remote work, but not all. And I will be talking more about my job hunt and what I'm looking for in January when it commences. Can you do another video like your self-care for depression one that you did when you were still at your parents'? I go back to that video so often. Also, how has your mental health been? How are you taking care of yourself? Thank you so much for this question. I had no idea that video resonated so deeply. I remember at the time when I was making it, I felt a little bit deflated that it just didn't get like the numbers that I wanted it to at the time. So I kind of took that feedback and ran with it, wrongfully so. If and when I'm mentally ill again, I can make another. Maybe end of February, tail end of winter, we'll see. I do indeed talk more about my Wellbutrin journey on TikTok, but I've been off of antidepressants since May and have been pretty regimented about my depression relapse prevention, which is something I worked a lot with my therapist on. It really just looks like journaling every day, making my bed, drinking lots of water, keeping my social battery up, moving my body, deleting social media for a few days at a time. Like nothing new, nothing novel. You've heard it all. Those are just really hard things to do when you're employed full time. I feel fortunate that I've had like ample time to set those things up, but I am pretty worried that like when I do a full-time job again and I have a call time every morning and I'm not so in control of like my workday like I am when when I'm self-employed, that those pieces will fall away. So there's a little bit of concern for my mental health, but as of right now, it's pretty sturdy. Do you think you could be happy working full-time? I don't know if I can, but I need the dollars. LOL. I fucking love this question because it's so real. Like, can any of us live joyfully while the boot of labor is crushing our necks? I will say I think I could be happier working if I had more autonomy, like more agency, more voice over the amount of labor I'm doing, the conditions, the quality of that labor, whatnot. And that's not to say that unions or co-ops are like perfect and everyone there is happy. I just think when you look at a country like Denmark, where just a lot more people have more democracy in their workplace, people are happier. People are happier. How did you get involved in political organizing / can you talk a bit more about how that's been? I always want to get involved, but I'm introverted by nature, so it's super intimidating to me. So I sort of like just stumbled across the group that I organize with, and it's all online. Organizing is like a really challenging but also very healing thing, because it's just a mode of like volunteering your labor that's just like so different than a nonprofit or working your day job or anything. Like, it's just, at least the culture of the org that I'm in, really transformative. I think a lot of people get started in organizing through a group like, you know, the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. They have like a youth outlet, and then they have those, they have like chapters basically per city. That's the most sort of like visible outlet I've seen. There's also things like Food Not Bombs. I will link, there's like a mutual aid hub that somebody created. I don't know how often or how well it's updated, but you can check that out as well. I would like love to do a video more about political organizing and bring in folks that have more like concrete advice for how to get involved in your community, because it is kind of like a black box. Like, I feel like you kind of have to know somebody to know somebody. Like, it's not, a lot of orgs are offline for good reason, so it's kind of hard to tap in and know like what you can contribute the most to. So maybe stay tuned on this. Thank you for the question. And last question is a request for my Spotify Wrapped. Let's see it. It's the Myers-Briggs of our generation. So I did share it on my Instagram, and I did share it on a live stream on Patreon. But let's go ahead and flash it on the screen. It's mostly indie pop, and indie. I will say my top artist for at least 4 years running was Miss Taylor Allison Swift. Dethroned this year by none other than, and I could not be happier about this, Miss Charlie XCX. Miss Charlie XCX. I've seen her 3 times live in the past year. Like, I am obsessed with the woman. I cannot get enough of Crash. I cannot get enough of How I'm Feeling Now, Pop 2. She's probably the best. Like, her sets, I have never felt so alive. Like, love her. But beyond Charlie, Taylor Swift, Muna, Snail Mail, Omar Apollo, baby. Omar Apollo. I'm so happy he's been blowing up. And then top songs, Everything is Embarrassing by Sky Ferreira, which is always in my top 10, a timeless classic. Street You Live On by Remy Wolf. I just like loved that album so much. Anything But Me by Muna, of course. Eventually by Tame Impala. God Tier Song. And Saw You in a Dream by The Japanese House, which is literally always in my top 5 every single year. So there you have it. Do leave me a comment with any of your answers to these questions, because I'm so curious. Like, whichever one felt the most compelling to you, would love to see your answer below. If you want to see me go on a new friend date, if you want to see me go out on the town in Seattle one night, if you want to see me talk about my experience at a nude spa, those are all in this Vlogmas series that you're catching the end of. It is on my Patreon, $3 for the Vlogmas tier. That will grant you access to 24 videos plus 7 podcast episodes from this year before I launch the real one, the real big one in January, and live streams, all of it. So if you're not stoked the video's over, there's more of that for you. If you are stoked the video's over, thank you for watching. I will see you all next time, and Katherout.